What is up, my Christian brothers and sisters? Thank you for clicking on the link. Thank you for joining me in this video today. This is the first video in a series on spiritual warfare that I'm going to be doing. It's been a while. It's been a while since I posted a video. It's been a few years since I posted a video on this channel on my Genesis Revelation Productions. I Before we get into the lesson, what this lesson on spiritual warfare is, I kind of want to let you guys know where this idea came from, why I'm thinking about doing something like this, all that type of stuff, right? So, it's been a while since I posted on this channel because just life, life. This channel was more so about me going out street preaching with my friends and my church out in the Portland metro area. I no longer live out there. I live in Long Beach now, and God's got me doing all kinds of other stuff. But just recently, I started doing this Bible communication class at my church, and did a lesson on spiritual warfare. It was like a 15-minute lesson, and like I had so much stuff I crammed into that 15 minutes that the everybody's comments were like the biggest you give critiques, they said it had a lot of good points and stuff too, but the biggest critique is they said it felt like one of my buddies, I think, how did she say it? She said it felt like a fire hose of information coming at them or something like that, because I was just like I was trying to cram as much in as I could in 15 minutes, and realistically, the stuff that I'm going to be talking about in this series is stuff that you really should be able to take more time than just 15 minutes to talk about. So that's why I decided, what, hey, I've got a YouTube channel that I haven't used for years, that I use for what do you call it? Spiritual warfare. That's kind of what I've always done with this Genesis Revelation production. So I figured, what? Why not? I'm doing this Bible communications class. Why not take this lesson that I had designed for this class and turn it into a full on video series on the Genesis Revelation Productions YouTube channel. So that's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm gonna do. So, but this video, before we get into it, like really dig into this, I want to kind of make a video that's a little bit of like a preamble to let you know why I feel like I actually can. I don't want to use the words like be authoritative on this or anything like that, but I think I know kind of what I'm talking about a little bit with this stuff. But in this series, this lesson series, just so you guys know, we're going to be talking about things like who who our enemy is, who is the devil, but also like who are other entities, um, how do they attack us using their own things about themselves, their own strengths? What are their weaknesses that we can exploit for righteousness' sake? How do they use our weaknesses against us? All of these things, right? We're going to take a look at all of this very tactically, very much like somebody studies a martial art, and that's kind of what I wanted to make this video, is because that's actually my background. That's why I do this stuff. When I was teaching this lesson in the Bible communication class, kind of started off just briefly getting into my background a little bit. I want to get into a little bit more with this. I the reason why this topic is such a strong thing for me, such an important topic to me, and one that I think I know a bit about, is because when I became a Christian when I was 16. I Shortly after that, obviously, I turned 18, and I really had thought at the time about joining the military. Really wanted to join the military. Prayed a lot about it. Wanted to become a Marine. But I had just dedicated my life to Jesus Christ, and I understood at the time that if I were to um, join the United States military, that the United States government at that point owns my life.
No problems with me, sir.
Sir, that look like a damn officer to you. Don't look at me. Close your daggone mouth.
And so I had already felt like I had given my life to Jesus Christ in that way, and I didn't feel like it was mine to give anymore to the United States government. And so then from that moment on, when I really made that choice in myself, I really saw myself as like a Christian soldier, as somebody that instead of going into military service for my country, I went into military service for my kingdom and serving my king from that point. And I've really thought about my walk with Christ from that standpoint. Basically, for my whole walk. I'm at the time of filming this, I'm 38 years old, so been a Christian longer than I haven't been, essentially, at this point in my life. Um, but shortly after I made that choice, like legitimately, preparing for this lesson, I realized that it was actually only a couple of months after me making that conscious decision. I met Carrie Kidwell, who happened to be the song leader at the church that I was going to at the time. And God used me to start a youth program there. And then Carrie's kid was one of the kids in the youth program, and turned out Carrie Kidwell was pretty gnarly with martial arts. He was really good martial artist, and so he started teaching me. He taught me for like 7 years. Took me to competitions. I competed in high level competitions, international martial arts tournaments for like 5 years. I competed in MMA style championships. I've competed in boxing style, kickboxing, and then I've also throughout the time, I started studying martial arts when I was 18, 38 now. So over the last 20 years, I've studied like 11 different martial arts styles. And, the reason why I say that is because um, the only thing in my life that has been able to impact my soul greater than martial arts is my faith in Jesus. That's the reality. And it's honestly by kind of a lot. I mean, like really, there's no comparison. But as far as worldly things that can shape a person, martial arts is like, boy, you can really do some soul searching with this stuff. And the reason why I'm bringing that up in relation to spiritual warfare is because as a martial artist. So I see myself as a Christian martial artist. I'm a Christian first, martial artist second, and then kind of every other title after that, right? And so I am a Christian martial artist. And as a Christian martial artist, I look at my life trying to live it for Christ, but also thinking about life and individual moments as a martial artist would. Like thinking about things tactically, thinking about look, you walk into a room and you look at for the exits and stuff like that. It's just stuff that you kind of learn. It's the way that you just kind of learn to live your life when you study martial arts for a long time. And because I've always seen myself as a soldier for Jesus, I look at my workings for Christ in his kingdom as a soldier of Christ, as somebody that is performing the work for my king, right? The work of like a soldier would for his king, right? That's kind of how I see it. And I see the things that I do as tactical, very tactical moves. When I am kind to people, when I am going to church and I play the cajon at the church now, like I go to these Bible communication classes with my martial arts classes that I do. I teach Kali, and I do that just for free for the community, and I don't say these things like as a way to try to boast or anything, but my point is that I'm very tactical in with that. I'm very thoughtful about the things that I'm doing with my life, the way that I'm living them, because I understand that Christ is using me as somebody as a vessel for his work that he is doing against our enemy, the one that has set himself against the Lord and therefore against us that want to follow the Lord. And so it's not just that I desire to serve God in this way, because that doesn't really, at the end of the day, what I desire doesn't really matter. The what is it? The plans in the heart of man is many, but it's the will of God that prevails. It matters what God's will is, and I'm trying to line my life up with that and look for ways to stand up for righteousness. That's the thing. Spiritual warfare, we are fighting, but we are fighting against evil, meaning we are fighting evil desires within ourselves so that righteousness, so that goodness, so that holiness can go forward in the world. That is what we are actually we're combating ourselves, because we are broken. This flesh is broken. And I think there is an element of the flesh, which we'll get into this, that has been designed to pull against our spirit as a way to strengthen our spirit. But the enemy uses it as a way to pull us away from God. And so there's all of these things that you can look at. And if you look at it, these workings, these spiritual things that we're doing, that the Lord is doing through us, that we see the enemy trying to come in and cause problems in our life in various ways. If you try to look at it from the mindset of somebody that is a martial artist, and you see, it's in martial arts, it's you have a strike, a counter, and then a strike, and then a counter and a strike, and it's you put all these things together and you create this flow that allows you to overcome your opponent, right? You can do the same thing. You can understand spiritual warfare in the same way. And that's what this series is intended to do. It is me telling you guys, whoever decides to find this is evergreen content is what they call this. This is intended to be stuff that can just be relevant. It's about God's word. It's relevant as long as God thinks it's relevant. As long as the internet is here, hopefully these videos will be blessing people. But these are things that, like I said, just that I do, that I look at, the way that I have come to see the scriptures, and I want to put this out there for others, um, in the hopes that this will give you a new way to see the scriptures, to see the world around you, and to see the attacks of the enemy that is coming against you, um, because you desire to serve Christ, and how you then can take that and counter it and start to work kind of like a spiritual martial art out of it. That's kind of like the deal here. So this video is just kind of like the preamble. The first video, the next video that you're about to see is going to be on the nature of our enemy. So who is the serpent? Who is the devil, Lucifer? Really? And we're going to take a look at, and for this whole sermon series, we're going to be looking at Genesis chapter 3, because that, honestly, if you guys can understand, really understand what's happening in that chapter, it unlocks so much stuff in the Bible. So much stuff in the Bible. If you can really lock in on what, and there's a ton that's happening in Genesis chapter 3. And because and the reason why I'm going to focus on Genesis chapter 3 is because this is where the war starts. This is where it all starts. And so, since we're talking about spiritual warfare, we need to go back to the beginning so that we can start to understand these things. And we're going to take a look at the beginning to try to get a better understanding on who our enemy is. We're going to take a look at his strengths, like I had said, his weaknesses, our strengths, our weaknesses, how he uses them, these things against us. And I'm going to show you kind of some tactics and various things that you can do and weave in the scriptures in and all out this stuff and develop some kind of like spiritual martial arts type of stuff here for you guys. All right. So anyway, I hope this series ends up being a blessing for you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.